Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tashi, and in this video we're going to be doing a crochet tutorial, beginner / intermediate tutorial on how to make this beautiful jacket. You can make it into a cardigan if you'd like. You can add buttons instead of a zipper, but it's totally up to you. This tutorial is going to be measurement based, so you will need to measure yourself. I can show you how to do that in the next clip. Let's get into it. First things first, we're going to do our measurements so you can have it fit to your body. So what you're going to do is grab your measuring tape. I have a notebook and a pen here to write down my stuff. You can do it on your phone. You can write it down on your phone. I'm sorry if there's a glare. I'm in front of a window. But you can write it on your phone or you can write it in a notebook like I am. I'm going to take your measuring tape. You want to find your right end. And you want to measure your bust. So to measure your bust, you're going to want to go around your back and then over your bust area, which is right here. And you want to go ahead and measure that. You don't want it to be too tight. You want to give it some room so you're able to zip it up or button up and still have some wiggle room. So for me, mine is about 48 inches. So I'm going to write down 48 inches. Now we're going to want to measure our arms. So you want to measure the thickest part of your arm, which is up here towards your bust area. So you're just going to go ahead and measure them. Sometimes this is a bit tricky. So my arm, I'm going to give it a little bit of wiggle room. Mine is 15 inches. And then you want to measure from the top of your shoulder to your wrist. And mine is about 22.5, 23. Yep, 23. You want to measure your hips. So to do so, you just go around your hips like this. And then measure right where it ends here. Oops, I did it the wrong way. 47 inches. Lastly, you just want to measure your back. So from here, from armpit to armpit, kind of like this. Loosely, I'm 37. Now that you have all of your measurements done, my patches that I did on my jacket is a 6x6, right? What you're going to do is divide your bust number by 6 because each square is going to be 6x6, and that should give you a total number, and you're going to make that many total numbers to go around you. So for me, that's 8, so I'm going to have 4 on the front, which is just 2 and 2 on each side, and then 4 on the back, and then connect the 2. I'll put in more of an in-depth diagram over here, but when you're done with your panels of your sleeves, your back, and your front, you want them to measure the exact measurements that you took on your body. If that's confusing, I'm so sorry. I'm not good at mathing. Okay, so the materials you will need for this video is a 6mm hook, a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, some measuring tape, and then any choice of zipper length. I have a 22-inch zipper. You can do smaller or larger, but this is just the only one my Michaels had, so this is the one I'm going to be using for today's video. And then I have all of my color yarn over here. I'm using about 9 different color yarns, but my white one is going to be my base for every single color, and I'll show you in the video what I mean by my base. But I have 9 different color yarns. You can use whatever color yarn you'd like, however many you'd like. I'm just using these ones because this is what I want my patch colors to be. And again, I'm using 100% acrylic yarn. You can use whatever yarn you'd like. This is just what I can afford at the moment. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so to make the squares, you're just going to go ahead and grab your 2 yarn colors. You don't have to use the 2 strands. I like to use the 2 strands just to give it more of a chunkier look, more of a thicker look. But you're going to grab your 2 strands and you're going to make a slip knot. So to make a slip knot, you're going to grab your 2 strands here, put it over your fingers, hold with your thumb, go around the back, cross it over, turn your fingers, hold with your ring finger, grab your pinchers, and go under this first loop and grab this back loop. So grab that, pull it under, remove your fingers and pull tight. So you should have a loop here. You're gonna go ahead and grab your hook and put it right through this loop. Grab your 2 strands and pull a little bit tight, not too tight, just like that. And then we're gonna go ahead and chain 19. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Okay, so you should have 19 chains, right? So you want them to all face the same way when you're working your first row. So that's your chain there. You want them to all be facing the same. We're gonna go ahead and make a double crochet into the second loop, the second, chain from the hook. So not into this one here, into this second one here. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. I know it may be tricky with the double strands, but you'll get used to it, and then yarn over, pull through the last 2. So you're just going to continue that all the way down, just putting 1 double crochet into every single chain there. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So you're just going to continue that all the way back down for a total of 18 double crochets. Okay, so once you're making your last double crochet, go ahead and chain 1 and then turn your work. Okay, so now we're going to be working back down, but this time we're going to be making double crochets into the back loops only. So once you've chained 1 and turn your work, you're going to go ahead and go into this V stitch here and go into this back loop only. So yarn over, insert your hook into the V and go through that back loop only, pull up a loop and just make a double crochet. So pull through 2 and then yarn over, pull through the last 2. So you're going to continue that all the way down, just working in the back loops of every single stitch, making a double crochet for a total of 18 double crochets. My last back loop double crochet, I'm going to chain 1, again turn my work, and I'm going to work back down the same pattern, double crochets into the back loops for 18 stitches, chain 1, turn work, and then you're just going to continue that for 9 rows. So back loop, pull through 2, last 2, back loop. Just remember to chain 1 and turn your work after every single row. Yeah, don't forget that. But yeah, this is a super, super easy pattern. And once you get the hang of it, you can work this up really fast. But yeah, you're just going to continue this for 9 rows, and I will meet you at the end of those 9 rows. Once you've done your last double crochet here in this corner, you're going to go ahead and chain 1, pull up a loop, take your scissors, and then you're just going to go ahead and fasten off. Get rid of this and then pull tight to secure. And you should have 9 rows. So to count your 9 rows, you can either count these by 2s or individual rows. I like to count them by 2s. Each line is 2. So you have 2, 4, 6, 8, and then you have an extra row, which is 9. Or you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, I like to just count them by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So you're just going to repeat this whole entire square, this patch, for the total of amount of full squares. So if you have half squares, don't count those because you'll just be doing half of this. But I will show you how to do that when I get to my half panels. My half squares. So I have all my squares done. I have 52 squares and then 2 of the half squares for under the armpit. I have 4 on the arms, like 12 here, 12 there, and then 12 in total for the front. And then I have 4, 8, 12, 16 on the back. And then this is going to look different for everyone. So if you're doing something smaller, you won't have these side pieces here. And then if you're doing something bigger, you might have more of the side pieces and like more arm sleeve pieces. But that just goes on the measurements, okay? So I've already started to stitch up this arm sleeve here. So now I'm going to show you how to stitch it all up. And then we're going to go over stitching over the front and the back panels. So let's get into it. Okay, so to sew everything together, first you want to make sure all of your patches are facing the right way. So I have these all going vertically. If I have any of them going horizontally, I'm just checking. I don't. So I don't want any of them looking like this. I want them all facing the same direction, the lines going across. To attach it, you've already threaded on your yarn onto your tapestry needle. And you're going to go ahead and grab your bottom panel and your top panel here. You're going to grab your bottom panel and you're going to find your first double crochet, which is right here. If you can see, you have your first stitch, which is just this V-stitch. You're going to go down into this stitch, into this back loop. You're going to go down, pull that through, and then you're going to go up from the back. You're going to go up into that back loop, pull that through. You're going to pull all the way through until you have a little bit of a tail, so like this. And then you're going to repeat that same step to secure that yarn, make it into a knot kind of. So you're going to go again down into this back loop, and then you're going to go up into that stitch there, pull that all the way through. I'm going to hold down my tail just because it likes to get in the way sometimes. I'm going to pull that through to make a little knot there. Okay, so that just secures the yarn from going anywhere. And then now we're going to attach this top piece here. So again, you're going to identify the first double crochet. For me, that's this one. And you're going to find the stitch, which is right here. And you're going to go again down into that back loop and find the next stitch. And again, you're going to go up into this back loop. Pull that through. Go ahead and pull that through. And then I'm going to get that tail out the way and just leave it like that once you pull it tight. And now we're just going to go into that stitch that we came out of. You're going to go down and up into the next stitch. Pull that through. Again, moving that tail out the way. Sometimes it likes to get caught in there. Oops. And pull that through. Okay, and then we're going to go back up into this top panel. You're going to find that stitch that you came out of, which is this stitch right here. You're going to go down into that same stitch and up into that back loop right there of the next stitch. So pull that through, keep pulling, and it should create kind of like this webbing, and you can pull it tight just to secure them shut. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that tight. Okay, and it did attach the two. And this is just called the mattress stitch. So you're just going to keep repeating that all the way down, and then I will show you how to do the corner on how to attach the corners. But I'm going to keep showing you here. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to pick up. It did take me a long time to pick up the mattress stitch, but I'm going to keep trying my best to go as slow as I can. So again, into that stitch we came out of. down into that back loop, and into the next stitch you're going to go up from the back like that and pull through. Again, getting out that tail that's kind of in the way. Oh my gosh, these scissors really want to be in the video here. Okay, and then again we're going to go into this top panel and you're going to go down into that stitch we came out of. So down, and then find your next stitch and go up into that back loop, pull that through, and then again bottom panel, go down into the stitch that we came out of and up into the next stitch, pull that through. And I like to just keep working it all the way through. I don't like to pull them tight yet because I do like the satisfaction it gives me when I pull them all through at the end. So again, into this back loop, going down and then up into the next stitch. And then if you still have trouble doing the mattress stitch, I can always link a video of someone else explaining it more in depth because I feel like I don't know enough of the mattress stitch. If you're not getting it, I'm sorry. But again, I will link something in the description box to a video on how to do it step by step. But this is just the way I like to do it. Okay, so I'm just going to continue that all the way down. And if you want it to be, if you want the video to be a little bit more slower so you can see exactly what I'm doing, there is a settings for that in the right hand corner to slow the video down. But I'm just going to keep working this mattress stitch all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and pull it for you guys so you guys can see. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that tight like that. And then you see how seamlessly that attached the two panels. I love it. And that's the stitching I like to do for all of my patchworks, is just the mattress stitch, because you can't even see the white yarn at all. But yeah, so if you ever forget which panel you finished off on, just always remember that the yarn or the panel that it's coming out of the yarn, that's the one you left off on. So you need to go ahead and go into the opposite one. So since my yarn is coming out of this bottom stitch, then my next one would be this top stitch. I hope that makes sense. I know this can be a little bit confusing. It was very confusing for me at first learning how to do this stitch. And again, you don't need to use this mattress stitch for attaching your panels. You can use whatever stitch you'd like. This is just the one I like to do. But yeah, so I'm just going to continue that all the way down, and then I will show you how to attach your corner pieces. Okay, so I'm doing my attachment for my last corner piece here. I'm just going to go down and then up into this, oops, down and then up. And then down and then up. Okay, I'm going to pull that tight. And now I'm going to go ahead and attach these two to this row that we're working in. I'm going to move this out the way, my little ends here. I'll weave that in at the end. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this bottom piece since we ended on the top. I'm going to grab this bottom. Again, I'm going to identify the first double crochet, which is just this one. I'm going to find that V, and then I'm going to go into this, down into this back loop, and up into that back V like we've been doing. Pull that through, and then I'm going to grab my top panel, and I'm going to identify the first double crochet, which is right here. I'm going to look at the V, and I'm going to go down into this back loop and find the next stitch and go up into that back loop, pull through. I'm going to move these tails out the way, pull that tight, and that should attach your corner pieces. And then I'm going to go continue what we did here all the way down. So we're going to go find the next, well, the stitch we came out of, which is this one right here. We're going to go down into that and up from the back into the next stitch. And then again, we came out of this stitch, so we're going to go down into that stitch and up into the next stitch. Again, down and up. And then down and up into the next stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead and just pull that tight. There we go. And that should connect your 4 pieces. So I'm just going to continue that all the way down until I get to this corner piece and repeat these same steps and then go all the way down, and I'll show you how to fasten off here, okay? Okay, so I'm doing my last couple attachment here. So I'm gonna go up and then down and up. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull that through. And that's what that looks like. And then I'm gonna secure, oops, my yarn fell off my tapestry needle per usual. So what you're going to do now to secure this together is you're gonna repeat that same thing. So you're gonna go down into this stitch, pull that through, and then down into this back stitch that you came out of. Pull that through halfway, and then once you have a loop here, you're gonna go take your needle and go through that loop to secure and make a knot like that. Okay, so now I'm just gonna cut off my yarn. I'll leave a little bit of a longer tail with that for weaving in. And then you're just gonna repeat that same process with that top, with that next row, and you should have your 3 rows or however many rows you needed for your sleeve. And then now we're just gonna flip that to the side and we're gonna attach vertically like this, okay? So again, I'll show you how to attach the 2 panels, but if you already know, you can go ahead and just keep doing that. And then I will do this and then show you how to attach these 4 corners again, and then complete that all the way through. Make a knot like we did for the ends of these rows and fasten off, and that will be your first sleeve. And then you can go ahead and continue these same steps with your other panels. So your back panel, your other sleeve, and then I will show you how to attach the front panels because it could be a little bit trickier, but your sleeve, your other sleeve is just gonna be like this. Your back panel is gonna be just like this, just bigger. But yeah, so I hope this is easy, and I will meet you when I'm done working this attachment row so I can show you this corner. Okay, so I just want to show you how to attach them since there is no real stitches on the sides. There's just like these chain ones. So I'm going to show you how to attach those like we did here for the mattress stitch. So let me show you how to attach those. Again, thread your needle onto some yarn. I would say double the length of your piece here, so double this length. Let me do that real quick. We're gonna go ahead and find your first double crochet. So this is my first double crochet here. I'm just gonna go into any random spot really. So like I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna go down into that. Pull that through so you have enough tail right there. And then up into the next space right here. Get those tails out of the way. Pull that through. And then like we did to secure this, we're going to go again down through the same space. Oh my goodness, it's tricky. Down through the same space. And then up the same stitch we just worked. And that should secure a knot. Okay? So to attach this panel here, I'm going to go through this space here, this first double crochet. I'm going to go down into that space and up into this chain 1 space kind of. I hope you can see this. So down and up into this chain 1 space, pull that through, and then I'm going to repeat the same steps like we did attaching these rows, down into that same space that we came out of and up into this next space. And you're really just going to have to make up spaces as you go because there isn't any stitches to guide you. So down into that space we came out of and up into a next space. And then down into the same space. And then I'm just going to go up. So I'm going to show you. So down into this space like we have been doing. And then you see this kind of like this gap here that we have going on. I'm just going to go up into that. Okay. And then down into the top one and up into the next space. And then down into this one and up into the next space. And I'm just going to pull that through to secure. And that is how that looks. Okay. And then we're just going to repeat that. So I'm going to go down into the space I came out of at the top and up. Again, I have this weird chain one space kind of thing going on here. So I'm going to go down and then up into that space. Okay. And then again, down into that stitch and up into a next space because there is no stitches. And then down and up into the next space. And you're just going to repeat that all the way down, okay? So the way you're working like down, up into the same, it still should give you a seamless attachment. So don't be nervous about making up spaces as you go. It should give you the same result as this looks. I hope that made sense. Okay, so down, up. Once you reached your corner and you're doing your last attachments of those two panels, and pull that tight. And I like to just end on a top piece, so I'm going to go back up through this stitch here. So now we're going to attach these two panels. So I'm going to jump over to this bottom piece here, and I'm going to go through this stitch here, or not, it's not a stitch, but it's kind of just like this side piece. Go through that and then up a random spot like we've been doing, and then go to this top piece and go down into a random spot and up through another random spot. Pull that tight, and that should attach your four corners. And then you're just going to repeat that those same steps that you've been doing, kind of just making up places to put your mattress stitches like we did here. And then don't worry about this here. The way I like to fix that is when I'm weaving in my ends, I kind of just tuck that behind, or I kind of just leave it there. It doesn't really bother me, but I'm going to continue that all the way across, just making up places. I'm going to pull that tight. Okay. That's what that should look like. And I'm just going to continue this all the way down. And then I will show you how to fasten off at the end of this row like we did the other attachment row. Again, on how to secure these two panels shut, I'm going to go ahead and do my last webbing stitch here. And then now I'm going to go down into this stitch. I'm going to pull that tight. And then I'm going to go down into the top stitch that we came out of. Oops, this one right here. And I'm going to pull it a little bit so you still have this loop. I'm going to put my needle through this loop here. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull that to secure with a knot. You can trim off your, and there I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter. So like this, so that you can weave it in at the end. So that is how you attach your panels. So you're just going to continue that one more time to attach this one here. And then you're realistically just going to keep doing that same process for all of the other panels. So I will meet you back when I have done my back panel, my other sleeve, and then I'll show you how to attach the 2 front panels like I showed you in the previous clip. And I'll show you how to do the little side pieces, okay? So I'll be back when I finish attaching all of those panels together. So I went ahead and sewed my back panel together, and then my sleeves are all sewn together, and then now I just have to do these front panels. I haven't sewn them to the back panel yet, but I'm going to sew this first. So what I'm going to do is just sew from here down, and then sew across, sew this one across, and then sew these 2 together to attach the back panel and the front panel. To create a half of a patch, since we only have 9 rows, I just did 4 since it's uneven number. You can do 5 if you like. I just did 4, which is just the 4 regular rows of the double crochet back loops only, like we've been doing for all the patches. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and sew my front panel patches together and then sew that back panel to this front panel to attach the 2. Also, don't worry about your tail ends. We're going to weave all those in at the end. So I'm just focusing on sewing the patches together, and then we'll touch back on that later, okay? Okay, so I would recommend trying on your cardigan to see if you like how it fits. This is perfect. I like how mine fits. It fits like perfectly around my waist, perfectly around my arms. I went in and just like pinned everything together. But so far, I like how it's looking. I went ahead and sewed my front panel to my back panel. I just sewed, like we have been doing, the mattress stitch to this back panel and this front panel piece. Same thing on this side. So now I'm just going to go ahead and flip it so that it is looking more like a sweater. And now we're just going to go ahead and sew along the sides. So what I mean is we're going to connect these 2 side pieces together. So you would essentially just sew half of this one because we only have a half panel or a half patch. Here, let me fix this for you guys. Hope you guys can see this. I went ahead and sewed my front and my back panel together just using the same stitch right there, and then sewed that piece together right there. So now we're just gonna sew along the sides. So what you wanna do is just go ahead and flip your cardigan over so that everything lines up correctly, like that. And then now we're just gonna go ahead and sew along the sides right there. So we're gonna go ahead and sew this front panel and this back panel together like this. I hope this makes sense, just like that. So we're going to be using the same mattress stitch, but just sewing the front and the back panels together. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, just taking this front and back panel and sewing up along the sides until you reach the end of the half patch. And then we're going to go ahead and fasten off at the end of those, and then we'll go ahead and sew on the sleeves. So again, like we did with some of these, like these stitches here, there won't be any stitches to go through, so you might just have to make them up as you go. So right here, I'm just making them up kind of evenly. Same thing with these corner pieces, like we have done previously, attaching the corners the same way, and then just sewing until you reach the end of this half patch, and then fastening off like we've been doing at the end. So yeah, so I'm just going to continue going all the way up and then do the other side all the way up, and I'll meet you back. I went ahead and sewed the sides together. So there's the one side and then there's the other side. All right, so I went ahead and sewed on that sleeve there, and now I'm going to show you how to sew on a sleeve while I sew on the next sleeve. So you're gonna take this whole part where you put your arm through, and you wanna make sure that you start the sewing right in the top, so right in the middle here. So not over here, not over here, right in the middle. You wanna grab your arm panel, and this middle one is where we're gonna start, but we're gonna start right in the middle. So you're gonna take this, you can pin this if you'd like first, and we're gonna line that up with the middle of this arm sleeve. So right there, I'm gonna go ahead and pin that. All right, so now that the middle is pinned with the top of the sleeve armhole here, I'm gonna go ahead and line up the sides, and then I'm just gonna go and pin this square to the bottom corner here. So not this half piece. So where this ends, right in this corner, I'm gonna pin this corner there. So I'm gonna pin that right there. And then I'm gonna pin it right to the corner, the bottom corner of this armhole. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So find the other corner of this arm sleeve panel, and then find the bottom corner of the armhole. So for the bottom, what I like to do is just fold these in. So you know how you have your, if it's upside down, and you have your section where you have to connect it in this half patch, I just like to fold it in halfway and fold this one in halfway, and then just pin all that together. That's how the arm sleeve pinned up should look like. You should have your middle patch in your sleeve connected to the top of your armhole. You should have the one corner connected to the corner of the inside of your armhole, and then the back corner connected also to the other side of the corner of the armhole, and then the two sides connected to the middle part of this half patch. And then, so I would start here, sew all the way around onto the other side till I meet back up at the top, fasten off, attach my yarn here at this joint patches, and sew all the way down and fasten off at the end. This is what it's looking like so far. So we're just gonna go ahead and add a trim on it, and if you wanna cuff the sleeves, you can. I'm gonna leave mine like this, I just prefer it that way. That's my son's hand there. But yeah, I love it so far. It's coming along well. I think it's super cute. This is what the back looks like. It's just the same pattern, just without the opening in the front. And yeah, so it's maybe tricky to see, but I have my whole entire cardigan on here. This is the bottom. This is the whole entire bottom trim. And then I have the top going along here like that. And then my sleeves on the sides. I wish my camera could get the whole thing in frame, but I cannot. So what you're going to do is start the trim of the sweater. Is you're going to start at the corner here, the bottom corner, and you're going to double crochet all the way around the top, all the way around here, and then you're going to get here and you're going to keep going till you go all the way around the back portion. Keep going until you reach back to this corner. Sorry if you hear my son. We share a playroom and office space together, so where I am, he is at. But so this is what you're gonna do. You're just gonna double crochet all the way around. I'll show you how to start that. So you're gonna make a slip knot. And sorry if this angle is weird. I'm doing this standing up because I'm trying to get this whole thing in frame. You're gonna attach your yarn to this corner piece. So just insert your hook. And again, like we did with the mattress stitches, there isn't any stitches to go along. So you're just kind of making it up as you go with the equal amount of spacings in between each double crochet. So slip knot, or slip stitch, sorry. And then I'm going to chain 2 to count as my first double crochet. And I'm just gonna go into a neck space that looks right there. I'm gonna make a double crochet. Again, yarning over, I'm gonna make another double crochet in the next space that looks like it's the right spot to go in. You got a lot to say, dude. You wanna be in the video? The next space. I'm gonna continue that all the way up, around, down, going around until you reach the back, and then until you reach back here. And then you're just gonna slip stitch to the top of this chain too. And then you can keep going, making just regular double crochets in every stitch for the next round, or you can fasten off right there. We're gonna work on putting on the zipper now. When you get the zipper, you wanna make sure that it is the open end one, so the separating one. I accidentally got the one that wasn't a separating one, and I had to go back to the store to get this one. But this one is a 22 inch. This is gonna vary for everyone's preference. I'm just getting 22 because this is the length I want it to be. You can do shorter, longer, however long you made your jacket, however short you made your jacket. But to put this on, we're gonna go ahead and open this. All right, so I've already done one side of the zipper. I'm gonna show you how to do the side, and then you can repeat it for this side. So let's get started. All right, so I went ahead and unzipped my zipper so that I had the two halves. That one is already sewed on. What the back looks like is like this. And it's probably like about an inch or half an inch between every single stitch. This is just what works for me. This is the easiest thing for me to do since I am trying to work this fast and I don't want to do any like measurements or anything like that. I'm just eyeballing it. But if you'd like to do any measurements, you can do that beforehand. So what you're going to do is you're going to line up your zipper and your trim like this. You're going to take your your needle, and you're going to go from behind and the back. You're going to poke through. Sometimes this initial like poke through could be difficult. So once you've poked through that little piece of fabric right there next to that plastic part, from behind, you're going to go ahead and find your corner piece and push that through and pull your needle through that. Again, this could be very tricky because it's the beginning of the zipper. You're going to pull your yarn through up until you have about 4 inches of a tail. So about there, like that. And then what you're going to do now is just line up your zipper and your trim. And you're just going to go about every stitch. So I'm going to go right here and poke through. Pull my yarn through. Now I'm going to go from behind. I'm going to go about an inch or half an inch over like this. And make sure it's going through the front of my yarn. Pull that through. Oops. Again, lining up my zipper and my trim. Going over this double crochet into this space. Pushing that through. Pulling that yarn through there. And then flipping it over onto the back, going about an inch. And then pulling that out some. Oops. And putting my yarn through that. Going over this double crochet into that next space, poking through. Again, I'd like to come out of this space, so put my yarn over. and then poke through. Make sure it's going through my stitch. Lining up and going over this double crochet into the space. Oops. Poke through, pull that through. And you're just going to continue this, making sure you're lining up your zipper and your yarn all the way up. I've gotten to my end part here where I'm just making my last few stitches, so I'll show you that. I'm going to move the zipper out the way, and I'm going to go over here. Okay, so once I've made my last stitch here and I'm up to this top part where the middle part is, I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm just going to cut off right there. Now I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go through this piece here and find that very end. I hope you guys can see this. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go over and then through and go into this very last end part. It's a bit tricky, but once you get it, you get it. Pull that through. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to go under this loop here. So I'm going to go under, pull through, don't pull all the way. Make sure there's still a loop left, a little bit of a loop like this. And you're just going to put your your needle through this loop here. And then you're going to pull that all the way down. And it's just going to create a little knot, essentially. So just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to go back. I'm going to go into this piece here. And I'm going to insert my hook, my needle, oh my goodness, into that front piece, pull through. And then we're going to repeat that step. So I'm going to go find this here, go through this stitch, but I'm not going to go through this zipper. I'm just going to go through that top stitch, pull through halfway, leaving a little bit of a loop, put your needle through that loop, pull again to make a little knot. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn, leaving about 4 inches of a tail. Cut my yarn. And now I'm going to weave in this end here. So I'm going to grab my needle, thread that on. And now I'm just going to weave that in. So I'm going to weave it in going back down this way, just to secure it between those loops. Like that. And then back up to secure. Take my scissors and just cut off right there. Pull on that. And that should be what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flip my jacket so that it's straight, so we can zip together the sweater. or the jacket. I got this jacket so big I can't even get it in the frame. Okay. Go ahead and zip the jacket shut. So go ahead and zip it together like that. All right. So now this step is optional. You don't have to, but I would just like to. I'm going to go ahead and add pockets to this just because I like all my jackets and cardigans to have pockets. For the pocket, I'm just going to be doing a square, just like this one, but it's not going to have the white. It's just going to be this solid blue color. So this blue color, and I'm just going to go ahead and make it the same size. The same way the back loop double crochets for the 9 rows and double stranded, but just all in one color, not this multicolor. It's the next day and I went ahead and did my pockets. Again, they're just the double stranded double crochets back loops only like we did here. I just didn't add white. I just did both of my strands to be the same color of this trim color. And now we're just going to go ahead and attach them onto the sweater. So this is my top part of my sweater right there. And then that is the bottom right there. And I'm going to move over to the side here. Oops, what's blocking my camera? Okay, so I'm going to move over to the side here so you guys can see. I'm going to grab one of my pockets. Well, first I'm going to go ahead and weave these ends in on both of them. So let me do that real quick. Once you have your pocket lined up, we're going to go ahead and sew on the 3 sides and leave this top one open. So what you're going to do is you're going to go from the back, from behind, and you're going to try to figure out where the beginning of your your pieces right there. You're going to go ahead and pull that yarn through, leaving about 4 inches to work that in at the end. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go back down next to it. So probably like 1 inch or ½ inch off, like right there. I'm going to go down and pull that through. And then I'm going to go up about ½ inch or 1 inch there. You okay? What's going on? You want some breakfast? Yeah. So you're just going to keep repeating these steps, going back and forth, and pulling your yarn through all the way till you get down to your corner piece. I'm just making sure that the spacing in between the stitches are about the same, so like 1 inch or ½ inch, and just in a repetitive motion. So once you've gotten to your corner here, you're just going to repeat like what we've been doing. Nothing really changes. You're just going to go down, and then I would just go right next to it and go up into this corner just to secure the corner spots. You don't want a corner opening up on you, and pull a little bit tight so that it's really on there, you know. And then I'm going to go right next to it to start this row. Poke that through. And then you're just going to repeat this for all of this side and all of this side. Do not stitch this part together just because we want that part open. So this piece right here, I'm going to fix at the end. I'm going to pull that tight, and I'm going to take this tail end and weave this back up and secure this corner spot to this side. So don't worry about this part. We will fix that at the end. But yeah, go ahead and finish this. Sew on that corner like we did there. Go up and sew and secure this corner like we did here also, okay? Okay, so once you finish your 3 sides, I'm going to go ahead and just secure my corner piece right here. So I'm going to come back up. And then I'm going to just go through one of these loops here in the front of my pocket. Go through a loop. Don't go through it. So you're going through the back, just go through it on the side. Pull it through, leave a loop here, put your needle through that loop, pull to make a little knot on this corner. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and fasten off here if I can find my scissors. All right, so go ahead and fasten off, leaving a long tail so that you can weave in that end later. And then again, I'm gonna come in and fix this. Okay, so you're just gonna go ahead and thread your yarn onto your needle. And you're just gonna do like we did all the other corners, just thread up and down through the corner, just securing it tight, making sure it won't go anywhere. And then doing that same knot that we did on the other opposite side of the corner, like through that stitch and through the loop, and then weaving in the end. Now we're just going to go ahead and repeat that same process we did with attaching this pocket onto the other pocket, making sure the measurements all line up, the stitches all line up. And I'm just going to go ahead and measure exactly the inch between each space from the pocket to the rim of the cardigan or jacket, and making sure everything is correctly measured because I don't want a pocket looking off or anything. So yeah, so you're just going to go ahead and do that. Alrighty friends, and that is how you make this beautiful jacket. If you found this video helpful or you like this type of content, go ahead and leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It'll really help my channel. But until next time, bye guys.